Hello, good evening. Well, good morning. Oh, it is Monday, March 3rd, 3 a.m. That's when I am recording. I'm going to have this up as early access for my Spotify premium subscribers and Patreon, and then it's going to go up on Friday. That would be the 7th. So I will upload it Friday, February 7th for this week's episode. This is one that I've had in my, Google search, I should say, for a while now. I just wanted to make sure I got the whole story because some of it is a little fuzzy and some of the story is not found. But I'm not drinking Java Mama at this time because I'm going to go to bed here in a few hours. So I'm just drinking my Powerade, the Gatorade stuff. I'm just drinking that right now because I would love a cup of coffee right now, but I don't want to risk it keeping me up. Excuse me. Oh, okay. So I'm bringing you this. Oh, back to the coffee. Java Mama just released its March Mama's Picks. 3 coffees that's themed to storybooks. One's called Pippi for Pippi Longstocking. There's Neverland. And then the other one is Mad Hatter. They all sound so good. And these you get all 3 of them for free shipping, or you can wait until April where they will be released for a limited time. They will be released on their own as singles. So I'm going to go ahead. This is the case of Shawna Beth Garber, and this is really something, I'm telling you. I've not heard of this. It just popped up when I was looking through cases around the Missouri area. This actually, my sources are medium.com, foxnews.com, amp.kansascity.com, and nwaonline.com. Shawna Garber was born in a car and the youngest of 3 kids in Topeka, Kansas. Her mother abused her as well as her 2 brothers, Rob and Roger. The boys were in school one day in 1973 when Shawna's mother poured lighter fluid all over her and set her on fire. She was 3 years old. She survived, and Child Protective Services put her into foster care. Now, she was in foster care in Garnett, Kansas, and she spent her life in and out of foster homes until the age of 18. It's so sad. She also had the last name of Harvey at some point. So Shawna Harvey, I've seen her name spelled both ways. I've seen it spelled with a W, Shawna, and I've seen it spelled with a U. So I've seen it spelled both ways. Shawna's birth mother remarried. I never got her name. After she split up with her husband, she remarried and had a daughter named Danielle, who later searched for her half-sister, and I will go back to her. I will bring her up again because she's a big part of this and, helping with this case. So, McDonald County, and this is in Missouri. In McDonald County, I don't think that's far from Joplin. I don't think. December 2nd of 1990, Randy and Linda Grohler, Grohler, were looking for tin cans on Oscar Talley Road. Now, this road is, it's between the border of Pineville, Missouri and Anderson, Missouri. And that's about where this location where they were at. And they saw a skull lying in the grass outside an abandoned farmhouse, plus scattered bones and clothing. It was estimated that the victim was in her 20s. They did not know the cause of her death, but she had been bound with 6 types of bindings: nylon and lead ropes, coaxial, coaxial, and telephone cables, paracord, that was only available in the military in 1990 and clothesline. It seemed that the body had been there weeks to months. Okay, now, a teenage girl who was out with her friends on Halloween night in 1990 came forward years later saying that she heard a scream in that area, plus saw a truck with a loud muffler go by as she was out with friends. They heard 2 vehicle doors open and then the scream. Then one door slammed and they drove off. This wasn't confirmed to be connected to the murder since finding the victim would take more time. The case went cold after more than 200 leads. She was named Grace Doe for the grace of God that they found her. And her identity had not yet been confirmed, so that's why they named her Grace Doe. Now, this is where I got kind of confused. A 10-year-old boy also saw the body a month before December 2nd, which would have put it right around Halloween. And he told his parents, but they didn't believe him. They never found out his name until years later when he told the story to another girl who was a classmate of the victim. And what happened was he stepped into what he thought was a bag of squishy deer bones. His dog came running up to him with a human hand in his mouth. He was interviewed by police, but that was it. No name was remembered. They didn't know his name. It's like, why wouldn't they still have his name? I was very confused by that. And the boy, years later, who became an adult, because they've been working on this case for years. And not too long ago, they found him. Again, the detectives who were new, you know how they bring in new detectives as DNA has advanced since then. So they brought in some new detectives on this. And they found the boy, who's now an adult. Now he explained to the truck. He said he and his male friends, they were little kids, heard a scream. Well, I say little kids. They could have been maybe, he was 10, so I don't know, maybe somewhere like pre-teenage. But they heard a scream on the same road as the teenage girl did that told the same story. The truck was a black pickup with a white stripe down the side, and it appeared to be a 1970s truck. He claims that he heard many screams, and that they went on for about 10 minutes. Again, the door slammed, and the truck left. They told their adult relatives about it, but with it being Halloween night, they chalked it up to just kids playing a prank. So these boys would use that abandoned farmhouse where the body was found. They would use that as a clubhouse to hang out, and they said that there was a root cellar there as well. I mean, the grass around it, I'll have a picture of it, but the grass around it, of course, is way, way long. Like, nobody actually cared for the place. He said he saw her rib cage, part of her spine, and her skull with brown hair, plus a size 5 or size 7 Lee jeans, a light colored t-shirt, and a green clothesline. What also was found was white tennis shoes and a jean jacket, along with a towel from a hotel and a napkin from that hotel that was in the pocket of her jeans. No undergarments were found, which made them think she was raped. 19 years later, in 2000, okay, then this is the part I'm going back here to understand, is that this kid said that he heard the scream on the 31st of October. I'm confused because I don't know if he's telling the truth about when he was 10 and he saw it a month before the couple who were looking for tin cans, because I don't think her body wouldn't have been a skeleton yet. It wouldn't have been a skeleton because I just said he found her body a month before December 2nd. And now he says he found the skull with brown hair. And if he found bones, I don't think she would have been skeletonized that quick. So I don't know if it was a typing error in the article that I got online, or if the boy said it was a month before, or if they just had it written down in there wrong that it was a month before. I don't know. Because to me, that doesn't make sense. I understand he heard the screams and all that, but then when he ran across the body and the dog had the hand, and then I read another source, the dog had part of the vertebrae or something in his mouth. So it's, or something. So it's like, I'm not sure which one is right, because there's all different, when you look up different sources, a lot of them say different things. And it seems to me like he was wrong about when he actually found her, unless he went back to find her after that. But like I said, she wouldn't have been a skeleton that quick. So, 19 years later, in 2009, a facial reconstruction image was created, and it circulated everywhere in the U.S. Tips came in, but they still did not learn who she was. And I will have a photo of that as well on my Instagram and Facebook and on Patreon. Then DNA became more advanced, and in April of 2021, they were able to put a name to her face, Shawna Harvey or Garber. She used both last names. So Shawna Garber was linked to her half-sister, Danielle Pixler, who I spoke of earlier. Danielle spent 28 years trying to find her half-sister. Shawna was 22 at the time of her death. It was believed that a serial killer who spent his childhood summers 19 miles from where Shawna's body was found was BTK, Dennis Rader. Another suspect was serial killer Larry Hall, who I did an episode on in Patreon and Spotify Premium. It's way back. It's like fairly at the beginning of my Patreon. And that was a very, very good case. So I have done that one. And I think I read one source that Danielle was also put in foster care as a child. So this is why she lost touch, and she did not know where Shawna was. I don't even know if she even knew her name. She didn't know anything about her. And then to find out by DNA that her sister was murdered in 1990. Now, they were able to finally solve this murder, so it is solved, after 6 collaborative sources provided information about Shawna's killer. It was 58-year-old Talfey, if that's Talfey, Reeves of Pineville, Missouri. One woman actually saw the crime, and people admitted to being terrified to talk about Reeves. She would not say anything. She saw it, but was terrified all these years to say anything. And because Reeves had a long criminal history, and he was dangerous, and he was known to threaten people. So what happened was he took Shawna Garber as she was walking down Missouri 59 in an old black pickup truck. This truck was not his. The owner is now deceased, the person that owned this truck. She was screaming when he raped her, so he injected her with meth. This caused her to overdose. Shawna was in that area working at a chicken plant as part of a work program for a halfway house. Now, before the case was solved, he had been questioned about Shawna's murder, but he just smiled. They said, "We want to know how she was killed. If you did it, we want to know how she was killed, to tell us." He just smiled. November of 2021, 7 months after they found out Shawna's identity, Talfey Reeves was riding a scooter on US 71 at Jane when he attempted to make a U-turn and was struck by a car, killing him. They solved the crime, but he is deceased, and that's why the people are now saying what happened and who did it. I never found out how they found out that he injected her with meth. I don't know if the person that told this knew about it. Like I said, one woman saw the murder. I don't know who this woman is. Her name was not given. I don't know if she was with him, but she saw it happen. How you could see it happen, I don't know, because this is a very, very secluded area, and the grass is so tall. I mean, by looking, you wouldn't even know a body was there, like I said, unless you were actually looking. So, I don't know. This is just amazing to me that somebody actually saw this happen. Now, the teenage girl said that she heard 2 doors open, not unless he opened his and went around to open Shawna's side. Maybe that was the 2 doors that slammed, and that's when he dumped her body. The boy said the screaming went on 10 minutes. They did hear her scream, so she was alive. Like I said, the people who have talked about this are not known. I cannot find their names. But Shawna Beth Garber's case is solved after all these years. So I will show her photo as a child. I've got a couple children's photos of her. And then when they did the reconstructive image to show. And then, of course, this Talfie Reeves guy, holy crap. I can't imagine her this girl had a life of abuse as a child since she was 3 years old, in and out of foster homes, and then ended up getting murdered at 22. Very short, horrible life from what it sounds like. Her sister, Danielle, did not want her to be invisible and has fought all these years after she found out who she was to solve this case with her. So that is the story of Shawna Beth Garber. And I'm very happy that I was able to tell this, because I never heard about this until I looked it up, and then they thought it was BTK, that he was the one involved, and of course Larry Hall, but they weren't sure until now. I just wanted to bring this to you. I know it's short, but it is a nice little coffee break for the beginning of March. It's amazing. Amazing. March is here. I love that March is here. And now April's come in, and I can't wait for April. I can't wait for May. And if you know, you know. A lot of people out there know why I'm saying this, but then it can just take its time after that. But thank you for all of your support. All of my Patreon and Spotify premium subscribers, you can join for $5, and you can listen to all of my bonus episodes. They go back to I started it September of 2022. No, 2023. I forget this is 2025. September of 2023, August and September is when I started the Patreon. And there's almost every month is 3 bonus episodes a month that's on there. So if you could do the math and count up how many episodes that is. There's a couple months where I only had 2 episodes. And then I decided to throw in on my Patreon, I'm going to do an episode called, just a short episode called My 2 Cents, where I'm just going to talk about things going on, and monthly true crime. If there's any other true crime stories I hear about, talk about them. Because usually when I hear new true crime stories, there's not much known about them. So it's like, I would like to talk about these, but there's not much known. But, and then other things going on with me. And I haven't watched, let's see, I did talk about on the Patreon episode, I watched on Netflix the 3-episode special on the new 3-episode special on Netflix for Gabby Petito. Very highly recommended to watch it. There's things I did not know about that led to the reason why Brian acted like this and just killed her and left her out there in the Teton National Park, laying in a fetal position for how many weeks? I mean, that he left her out there. It shows his parents not talking to the police, saying, yeah, Brian's here, but we ain't talking. Anyway, this episode made me really mad, and it even had me start to, I just almost cried. I wanted to cry because it was so sad. And they do talk about how much they're helping all missing people get the coverage. I don't know, her coverage on her case was very big, but there's so many people out there that are missing that needs coverage. If there's any cases out there, if anybody's listening to this and you have any suggestions you want me to cover, especially a case that's not well known, because that's what I like to do, let me know. And I will have my email. I got Instagram, Facebook, X, everything in the show notes, because I focus on the Midwest, but I would tell a story that needs attention. So no matter like where it is, I would do a special one that needs attention. So I really am looking for suggestions. I'm trying to think of what else I've watched. Let's see, I watched that. I haven't watched very much lately because I've been so busy working and then the podcast and then doing my crafting. I have things that I do online from my crafting. And so I really haven't been watching as much that I haven't talked about, that is. I'm trying to think of if there has been anything new that I watched, but I need to really get some good movies or series in there that I haven't seen yet. I don't know of any newer true crime stuff that's on Netflix or Max. I just resubscribed to Hulu on a special, so I've got that now. And I started watching Mean Girls Murders from ID, and the Shawna Garber case is on that one. Very sad. I just started the book because the podcast that I listened to, it used to be called Gore Report. The Dark Corner. Is that right? Please tell me. I don't want to butcher the name. And Gage is that's the host, is awesome, and he just did a 3-parter on the Shawna Garber case with details I did not know. And he read this book and on the case, and I just got it on Thrift Books, but the cover's all torn up. It makes me so mad when I get books and they look like this, because I paid for it. It wasn't very much because, of course, it's a used book on Thrift Books, but this is the first book I think I got on there that looked like this. But the pages are all intact. Nothing's wrong with the pages themselves. So I am reading it. Little Lost Angel is the name of it. And Quinlan is the author's last name. I forgot his first name. Believe it or not, I don't have the book right here with me right now, but because I'm in the middle of reading it when I'm in the recliner sitting there and just reading. Oh my gosh, it's so horrible. And all 4 of those girls are out. It's amazing. It's amazing to me that they're out. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there about the Dark Corners podcast because it is very good. So I think that was all I had. So if you cannot subscribe to Patreon or Spotify Premium, reviews are always, or ratings on Spotify are always welcome, because that's another way you can support. And I'm so happy. If anybody, like I said, if anybody has any suggestions, please let me know. I am so happy that my podcast has been going on this long. I never thought it would be going 2.5 years. It's been 2.5 years. I just can't believe it. And when I talk about, which I'll probably be talking about this on Patreon with my 2 cents, I'm going to be talking about sometimes you got to let toxic people go in your life. You got to let them go or cut them out to be successful. And that's what happened with this podcast. I'm going to be talking more about that on my Patreon episode. And it's very rewarding to me when that happens. It's just amazing how far you can go without negativity. It is. So thank you for listening, everybody. And shoot me some suggestions if you have any. And I will see you next time.